to Ask the Patient Advocate podcast, where we will discuss all things related to navigating your health. I am Dr. Elena Barelli, and I'm so excited to talk about such an important topic of private patient advocacy. Managing your health and navigating the healthcare system is challenging, but it's a lot better when we go through it together. Welcome back to a new episode of Ask the Patient Advocate podcast. Navigating chronic illness can be isolating, confusing, and exhausting. Joining us today is someone who embodies resilience and advocacy. Sammy Watson is a lupus warrior, children's book author, and founder of Light for Lupus, an initiative dedicating education and empowering young people living with lupus. So whether you're a patient, a caregiver, or just someone wanting to better understand the complexities of the healthcare system, we're here to help guide you through it all. And today's episode is going to be especially powerful. Sammy, thank you for joining me today, and I want to say welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, let's start at the beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about when and how you were diagnosed with lupus?
Absolutely. So I was diagnosed roughly about 11 years ago. I was having a lot of chest pains, body ache, fatigue. I honestly thought I was coming down with the flu. But once the chest pains started to get a little bit worse, I was like, okay, let's go to the hospital. And they started running several different tests, and they realized that I had a lot of fluid building up around my heart. So when they scheduled the procedure to drain the fluid, my lungs ended up collapsing, and it kind of was a long journey from there. So yeah, it was a lot. But once I started telling them I had certain autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, it was kind of like a light bulb went off for them. And that's when they kind of was like, okay, let's try to go in this direction when it came to, running labs. And that's kind of how I was diagnosed. It kind of was very dramatic and traumatic in the beginning.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine. And unfortunately, you hear different but similar stories where the diagnosis is delayed. And it's just all too common, especially with autoimmune diseases like lupus. It's such a crucial reminder that when something feels wrong, you have the right to keep pushing for answers. Don't just take, we don't know, or, my favorite that I hear is, oh, it's just bad luck. Like that's not really a medical diagnosis, bad luck. So when you have those questions, I think you need to just push and keep asking them. But you've taken your diagnosis and turned it into something incredible. Tell us about Light for Lupus and how it came to be.
Yep. So Life for Lupus is pretty much me just advocating for others. I speak at different events such as like lupus galas or public speaking options that I have, or doing like podcasts like this just to spread the word to others. I try to host little events when I can, just for like fundraisers. But I really want patients to understand that their voice can be heard. I kind of tell my story to others to try to help them know how to talk to their doctors, because it's something that's not going to go away. This is a diagnosis that's going to be here lifelong. And usually with lupus, you are diagnosed with other things as well. So I kind of show them different ways to navigate through. And I kind of targeted myself towards children and writing children's books for them, simply because I wanted them to be able to understand the language. I wanted kids to know the difference between inflammation, so they'll know if it's joint pain, muscle pain, nerve pain, and these things. Because if you start early, I feel that once they're, an adult, they'll know how to talk to their providers, because I hear many adults still don't know how to talk to their doctors. And it's not because they don't know what's happening with their bodies. They just don't know how to explain it.
No, that's so true, and I love that. Many people don't know this, but I actually am a children's book author as well. Yeah. Many years ago, I wrote a series, mine was my first book was on teaching children about diabetes, which that was kind of something unknown, as well as a lot of patients or children don't really know what that is. They see maybe a classmate or something with diabetes, but they kind of are too scared to ask questions and things like that. But what is your book called?
Luna and the Tiny Superhero.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So basically, she has lupus, and of course, lupus pretty much attacks the body, and your body's confused. So Luna explains lupus to her friends as a superhero that's in her body that's fighting the wrong things, and medication has to help it, fight what needs to be fought.
And where can this book be purchased?
Well, right now, if you go to my website at lightforlupus.com, you can subscribe to my email list and you'll be notified when it is finally available for Amazon for purchasing. That's where it will be. Everything is pretty much finished. It's just waiting for the final approval from them. And that's
Wonderful.
pretty much where I'm going to be, shipping from.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. You're doing great work. Representation is healing in itself. When young people see someone who walked this road before them, it helps validate their experience in such an important way. And you're not just a lupus warrior, you're a patient advocate too, which are, amazing. What are some of the most important lessons you've learned while advocating for yourself?
Well, one thing I've learned is to try to listen to your body so you can know the difference between pain and discomfort. A lot of times we don't know. We don't know when we should go ask for help because typically with lupus, like I said, you get other conditions. I also have like fibromyalgia, and it's like, okay, am I having a fibro flare up? Is this lupus? Or
Sure.
is it just, pain? And like, when should I go? But I feel like, listening to your body, knowing those signs and symptoms, and also no is a complete sentence. When doctors are prescribing certain things and you may not feel comfortable with it, you want to take a little time to research it and, just let them know, ask for other options because essentially they are working to make you better and help you. So if you're, mentally not feeling comfortable with something, speak up about it.
No, I think that's amazing. I think that's so important. Speaking up and, you know, taking like autonomy of the situation. I think that's great. So, lupus is often called the invisible illness. What do you wish most people understood about living with it day to day?
That it can change. There are days where I'm great. I mean, I can run in circles, do whatever I need to do. And then that same day where I've been working, doing great, that same day, within a matter of seconds, it can flip. And I wish people could understand that it's not one size fit all. Treatments are not always the same. Symptoms are not always the same. And for people with lupus or other chronic illnesses altogether, what may be small to you can be really big for us. I just
Sure.
wish people could see that it's not like a blanket, It's not like I have a cold or whatever. It's a condition that it does what it wants when it wants.
Yeah,
And I
it's
wish people could
unpredictable.
understand that. Yes.
Yes, no, that's great. That's a great piece of advice. So let's talk a little bit more about your writing. We talked about your book, the name of it. So, what inspired you to tell those stories?
Well, I went to school to be a teacher, but after being diagnosed, my immune system just couldn't handle working with the little ones. So I was like, how else can I connect with them on, and what can I do so that they can understand it on their level? And I was like, well, let's just get into writing. I wanted kids to be able to understand that their journey is exactly what it is, a journey. And if you
Absolutely.
learn, young, it'll help you when you're older, and I wanted them to be able to educate their friends because there are times where, kids, they don't intentionally mean to be mean, but it's simply because they don't understand,
Sure.
and I wanted kids to be able to explain to others, like, hey, this is why I take this, or, to embrace the fact that they are different. We live in a very diverse world, and I don't want anyone to feel that because they have an illness that essentially, yes, they are different, but you can still do just about the same thing everyone else can.
That's absolutely amazing. And it's so true. Education is so powerful. And I
Hmm.
think once you educate people, it makes such a difference. So, storytelling is a great form of advocacy and really powerful one. And so, Semi, for anyone out there, especially young people who may have just been diagnosed with lupus or even another similar chronic condition, what would you say to them?
I would say take it one day at a time.
I love that.
One day at a time, because when I was initially diagnosed, all those years ago, I was learning myself. I had to adjust. I had to get used to new medications. My body changed, hair changed. It's just, I'm still going through different changes. Don't
Sure.
rush it and try to find a provider that listens. If it's difficult to get appointments, that may not be the best doctor for you because we need someone that's going to essentially be able to be on call.
Agreed.
I don't, when I'm having a flare up, I don't want to have to call the office 7 times before I get to a live representative, and then the wait is 2 months out. You need to be able to have someone that can have that one-on-one type of relationship with you. You're just not another name on a clipboard.
No, absolutely. I think that's so important. And a lot of what we do is really helping find clients match the right provider that's right for them. And it really is a like individualized approach, because what's a person that might be have a great experience with one provider isn't the exact same experience that someone else might have. So absolutely. So I'm sure our listeners would love to know more about Light for Lupus and our cures, how they can connect with you. Where can people find more information about you and the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm really active on Instagram. You can find me there at Light for Lupus, spelled all the way out. And again, my website, lightforlupus.com. If I do have anything that, needs to go out to my subscribers, I'll definitely update the email list and send out new updates there. But Instagram is primarily my main source. You can send messages. I respond pretty quickly. And I'm always there sharing different things on, if I do have events or if there's events near in surrounding areas, even if they aren't in my state. I like to share things for others. But definitely there, you'll find a lot of information there.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your voice, your vision, and your light with us. For our listeners, if you're navigating lupus or any chronic illness, please check our show notes for links to Light for Lupus and resources to help you take the next step in your journey. And remember, whether you're just beginning this journey or years into it, your voice matters, your experience is valid, and you don't have to go through it alone. So I hope this conversation helps our listeners feel more confident as they navigate their healthcare journey. Thanks again, Sammy, and have a great day. If you have a question for Ask the Patient Advocate, email advocate@pathwaypa.com. Managing your health and navigating the healthcare system is challenging, but it's a lot better when we go through it together.